Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing their badassery. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is incorporating a door key system when working with contractors. As a real estate investor, one effective way to streamline access and ensure the security of your properties is by implementing a door key system, which is not dorky at all. Here are 5 reasons why having a key system is important when working with contractors. Number 1, security. Protecting your investment properties from unauthorized access is paramount. A door key system allows you to control who can enter the property, reducing the risk of theft or vandalism. Number 2, tracking and monitoring. Many modern door key systems offer features such as electronic logging and monitoring capabilities. This allows you to track when contractors enter and leave the property, providing valuable insights to their working hours and activities. Number 3, convenience. Instead of relying on physical keys that can be lost or duplicated, a digital door key system offers convenience and flexibility. Contractors can use individual PIN codes for seamless access, eliminating the need for physical keys and the associated risks. Number 4, remote management. Whether you're across town or out of state, a remote access door key system enables you to manage access to your properties from anywhere with an internet connection. You can grant or revoke access permissions in real time, ensuring that only authorized individuals can enter the premises. Number 5, cost effectiveness. While implementing a door key system may require an initial investment, the long-term benefits in terms of security, efficiency, and peace of mind can far outweigh the costs. So, incorporating a key system into your property management strategy can streamline operations, enhance security, and protect your investment assets effectively when working with contractors. Now on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us Jay Rodriquez. His bio only had 9 words in it, so writing this intro was very easy. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Golden Glove champion, pro boxer turned real estate investor, Jay Rodriquez.
Champ is here. The champ is here.
I love a short bio that made writing your intro super easy, but you are so much more than just those few words. And you were referred to me by one of my dear friends, Devin Bravaco. So shout out to Devin. And P.S., she's the reason I am a podcaster to this day, if you can believe it. She's the one who got me into podcasting. Yes. So wow. She's your girl. She's my girl. We all love Devin. So shout out to Devin.
She's the best. Shout out to Devin for sure.
Absolutely. So I want to hear all about this background. You were a Golden Glove champion, and honestly, I don't know what any of that means, so you have to dumb it down for me, but I can tell I'm in the presence of badassery, so give us the history of your boxing career.
Thanks for having me on the show, by
Absolutely.
the way. First off, I'll start with that.
And
cheers
we're
to
popping
you.
We're popping your podcast cherry today.
Cherry, yes we are.
All right, go ahead, sir. Let's hear about this boxing history.
So I initially started when I was like 12. I was getting into some trouble in school. And my dad was like, you know what? If you want to get into some fights, we'll take you where the kids really fight. Took me to the boxing gym. I started from there, fought in the Junior Olympics, which was like the highest level you could compete in at that
Wow.
age. And by 18, I was a Golden Glove champion, which is like, as far as the amateur tournaments is concerned, is like the most prestigious tournament, especially coming out of New York. I want to say in 80 years that this tournament has been around, they've produced something like 47 world champions.
Wow.
Like all the greats came up through those tournaments. So like becoming Golden Glove champion was kind of like the thing to do to show you're en route to like becoming one of the greats.
Awesome. And that is incorporated in your business name, correct? What's the name of your business?
Correct. Champion Estates.
I love it. So we had to delay this a week, and I have been stalking your ass on Instagram, and oh my gosh, Jay, you are such a badass at these luxury homes. And I want to dive into, how did you get started in real estate?
So I started to fight professionally, and got injured, hurt my shoulder real bad. Not in a fight, in the gym. I did some surgery, tried to correct it, and it just wasn't working. So life took over, had some beautiful babies, and my priorities shifted a little bit. And I was like, man, you know what? Like, what can I get into that, like, I don't want to dedicate years of my life to something and have to walk away from it again. So what's something that I can do that I know I could do forever? And sure enough, I'm watching Flip or Flop. I'm watching the TV show, and I'm like, this looks easy. I could do this, like, you know. And I'm like, wow, they just made $70,000 pretty quick.
Tarek and Christina definitely made it look easy, didn't they?
Yeah, they definitely did. I was like, why am I even going to work? I'll just go over here. I'll get this done. So with that in mind, I started going down the path of real estate investments and doing the fix and flip. I started out at first with smaller cosmetic projects, and now I only do huge level addition luxury homes.
Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, I like, it sucked hours out of my day just going through all your stuff, because you do some amazing, amazing work. Can we just talk about the entry to that one property? All you did, and I say all you did, but there was a herringbone. I'm going to let you tell it. How did you design the floor?
So one of the things I always try to do when I'm doing these luxury homes is like that buyer, when they come in, you want to grab their attention right away. So I always make sure to instantly provide some type of like big punch. As soon as they walk in, like, just grab their attention. So I did select white oaks throughout the house, but specifically in the foyer, I did a herringbone style, and then I picture framed it with a 5-inch select white oak border around. So the moment they walk in, they either have the herringbones if their eyes draw down, and then I did a Philip Jeffries wallpaper on the ceiling of this 2-story foyer, which was like a gold foil with a 7-inch black crown around it, just like hanging above the chandelier. So whether their eyes draw down or up, it's just like a big impact. As soon as they come in, I want them to feel like they're luxury. That's why, like, even in the railings, I don't know if you got to see the video where I did the
glass railings
with glass railings, and then I did a slim trim of like white oak across the glass. So you got like the glass, the black, the wood, all those features tying in together to just, you know, create that luxury feel, right? Because some of these effects is like, you don't just see that, right? Like, you walk in and you feel like, when you're in luxury, you feel it. When you walk into the right restaurant, you walk in and you feel it.
Absolutely. And so well said, because, you know, I'm just seeing pictures and video of it. I'm sure it's a totally different experience walking through it. So I have so many more questions to go on. So let me just ask this, because I'm dying to know this. You're talking about the chandelier, and one thing, you push a button and the chandelier lowers? What is that?
That's the badass part of the house. That's the we did a chandelier lift. So, right, like, I know a lot of flippers try to do the minimum, and
yes.
You know, I hate to make a blanket statement like that.
Right.
But
no, you're right.
try to just do the minimum, but I try to keep the buyer's experience in mind, like long term, right? So I'm thinking about this chandelier that I'm hanging all the way up in a 2-story foyer. Like, how are they ever going to get up there to clean this thing or bring it down and change a light bulb if they have to? So the lift, you just hit the switch and it comes all the way down. And it's just like such a badass thing to have at the open house, right? Like this new toy you could just play with in front of the new buyers.
Absolutely. Along with the changing lights you have in the bathroom that are sound activated, so you can play, or it's a speaker actually.
It's a Bluetooth speaker, and it has the night lights, everything kicked in, but it's like from the app on the phone. So the motivation behind doing that was, again, thinking about the buyer's experience. We did a wet room and you have like a soaking tub. So I created the niche super low to make sure you have access from like a seated position to put candles or whatever they want to do, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, if I was in here, like I would want to have some music on, and how would I change it? Like what, so that ended up being like the perfect thing to do, because now you have access from the phone. So when these buyers move in and they're sitting in that soaking tub, they'll be able to just go through the different music, change the lighting, the effect, the mood in the room. And, you're paying $2.5 million for a home. Like, you want to feel that.
All right. So, I could like pick your brain over this. We're getting ready we've torn it down. We're still waiting on effing permits for like weeks and weeks. We're talking,
the worst.
We're about 9 weeks now waiting on these permits. And the final review again is Tuesday. But anyway, I digress. So we tore down a $36,000 house, and we're getting ready to build what we're going to sell is 1.2.
Nice.
Some people say up to 1.5. I like to stay conservative, and it's going to cost us $600 to build that. So that's why I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to have Jay on the show, because I want to pick your brain. So I will go back and pick some of this stuff. But you hit the nail on the head when you said a lot of flippers out there don't do these extravagant things. It's not that they're cutting corners. It's just that they are trying to sell to the masses, meaning they will do some builder grade things and then maybe like a really cool fixture, really cool kitchen lights, over the island or something, an accent wall here and there. But I was always taught never to go overboard when you are selling to the masses. And I have seen people over renovate some things and do things to their liking, and it sits a little bit longer. So in the luxury level where you are, Jay, how do you still add these like really amazing features, but still it's to the masses? Or is it just anyone walks in like, hell yeah, I want to be able to push a button for my chandelier to come down. I'm going to be changing those light bulbs once a month. So what are some of the things that you do that still keep a large pool of buyers? So
my business model kind of flips that like on its head, right?
Good.
Most people just want to do whatever you need to do to hit the comp, right? Like in your case, right? You would probably figure out what the comps are and what do we need to do to hit the 1-2, and then right, like most people would just target what they need to do to hit that 1-2. I intentionally try to go above and beyond with the repairs, not just to. I'm not intentionally just trying to sell one home, right? I'm trying to create a brand. I'm creating a brand. I want people, when you walk into a house like this that has all these unique features and stuff, it's natural. The only question you're going to want to ask is, who'd you buy your house from?
Very good.
And so I want people to always have like a good review of the house that they've lived in, even after being in there for so many years. So what I try to do is I look at the competition and I see what have they done, and then I figure out how to beat them, and then I just like 10x it and go above and beyond to just completely annihilate whatever the competition is. And also, like when you're, at least in my mind, the reason I target these luxury level homes is because I always try to have like a deep understanding of the buyer, right? And like anybody who's buying a $2 or $3 million home, I mean, there's people that have like out of buying a 10 or 15 million. Like that's a different buyer, right? Like there's a lot more people that have a good amount of money that can buy a $3 million home, but also about what's like normal about that buyer tends to pay for what they want. So they're not so concerned about it appraising. Like maybe if I was flipping in the first time home buyer bracket, I would probably be more conscious about this house isn't going to appraise if I do this. But I specifically aimed for these buyers because I know that even if I do more than what the comps are showing, they'll be willing to pay for it because this type of buyer pays for what they want. So, and sometimes you got to show people what they want. They don't know. They're looking for a house.
I love that.
Like they're looking for a house. They just want somewhere to live. So, if I can go in there and show them the true maximum value and potential of this home, I know that they'll be willing to pay for it. And if the house appraises 200 grand less, 300 grand less, they don't care because for them it becomes a bragging right? They get to say, oh, but my house is the one that has that chandelier lift. My house has the 16-foot island. Like,
yes,
And I know certain parts of these towns, specifically the one that I'm in, it's like everything becomes a bragging right. It's like, oh, you live in this town? Okay, great. But are you on the left side of the Ave? It's like, are you on the north or on the south side? So I just, I target them specifically for that. And I know this is a long answer, but so many things come to mind. And I just want to give you a thorough answer.
I'll tell you another one. Here I'm in North Carolina, you're New Jersey, and we call them in-law suites. But when on some of your videos, you call them nanny suites?
Nanny suites.
I'm like, damn, that is so good. I'm like, I don't want old people living with me, but I want someone living in my house taking care of my kid. Well, I don't have kids, but so I just like that you just changed it because that also exudes luxury, is being able to have a place in your house for your nanny to live. Oh my gosh. All right. So let's rewind because, I will just ooze all over the place trying to get ideas here.
I get excited too. And feel free to just stop me because I get excited and I can talk about this shit all day.
I love it. Well, how did you transition from the lipstick jobs? And by the way, did you do an education program? Because you said you started smaller. So go ahead.
So I did. I at the time I was doing those small cosmetic lipstick, as you were just saying, projects. I seen this guy doing bus tours. His name was Gabe Da Silva. And he was doing these level projects where he was adding a second floor to these tiny Cape Cods, and I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm like, how is he doing this? So I went on the bus tour. This was 4 or 5 years ago. And I remember saying it that day. I was like, I brought my cousin, who's my project manager with me, on the tour with me at the time so he could learn what I was learning. And I took the time to go through all of them, through all the educational courses, right? But this was the most impactful by far, because I got to see it in person. And I told my cousin that day, I said, I don't know how, but someday I'm going to do business with this guy.
Very cool. So I want to hear about your first project. So you did the bus tour. You maybe had done a couple lipstick jobs, but was your first project a complete success?
Yes. Well,
which is rare.
Yes. It was. I've only ever had one deal go bad on me. And I want to say it was my third deal. Okay. It was my third deal, and it was meant to be a lipstick, but it was just a huge house. It was just a huge house, and I got so excited about it. I didn't realize that I should have had so much more cushion going into that project. Mm-hmm. That thing ate me up.
All right. Well, let's hear about this first project. How'd that one go for you?
So the first project, I had to get super creative about it because. This is the Badass Podcast, right? So I'm I gotta be real.
Be real, do it.
When I started, I honestly didn't have any money. I was trying to figure out how to get creative, financing, and figure this out. So I was able to. At the time, I was just buying for $80,000 and we were selling them like renovated at like 200, 220. This is like 2016. So I kept getting outbid by these cash buyers, I was trying to use hard money. It wasn't working. So I ended up raising money through like credit cards, and I bought the house using the credit card at like 0% interest. You know, they give you those, the introductory where you get it at 0% interest for like year. 12 months.
Yep.
Yeah. So I used that to buy the house cash. Then I'm like, all right, I need the $60,000 to renovate this thing. So I owed the money on the credit cards and I was paying that, but the house itself didn't have a mortgage attached. So I was able to refinance the construction money out of the house, renovate it. And at the time, my ARV was like 210. The project took me an extra like 3 months to finish it because obviously I was still like figuring everything out, right? And in those 3 months, I was able to, the comps went up. And when I went to sell, I actually sold for 240. So I sold for like 30,000 more.
Nice.
Yep. I remember I had to give 5,000 in seller's concession. So the net was like 235 on that.
Oh my goodness. That is amazing. So how did that then go to evolve into real estate full time?
Well, because then I had some capital. So then I was able to keep moving forward, doing some other projects until eventually I was like able to master this at a level project and linking up with Gabe De Silva and doing like that educational course and joining his accelerator program and joining that collective of folks has just been super powerful in my life.
And let's touch on that for a second, because many of the listeners are just getting involved in real estate investing. They maybe are still looking for their first deal. And there's also some that are really nervous to invest in themselves and pay $15,000, I paid $30,000 for my education program. So how important was investing in yourself in that education program to, become what you are today?
Okay, so I'm glad you pointed that out because like as a beginner investor, I think it's super important. And I didn't realize this when I first started, but I was just chasing the first deal. But if you're a beginner investor out there, let me just say there's nothing more powerful that you can invest in than mentorship.
Right.
It's like having a cheat code. It's literally the cheat code. Having somebody that you can bring a deal across and say, hey, am I about to lose my ass on this deal? Like, is this going to be good? Or like, and them being able to come and say, sometimes just one conversation with the right person can save you that same 30 grand.
Exactly.
One conversation with the right mentor can save you that 30,000. And just the relationships and the amount of knowledge that comes out of it and just being around the right type of people that, it all doesn't, right? Like, it's not like just being around people that have money, but it's the type of person that is, right? Like these are like open-minded, strong-minded, intelligent people who have experience, and it's priceless. Right. Because like right now there's like, you see all the like sexy terms, right? Like floating around social media, OPM and all this stuff. But like that shit is dangerous, man. If you don't have the right experience and you don't know what you're doing, like, and I said this in one of my videos and like, it's just reality of life. Like people love to win with you. Nobody wants to take a loss with you. You got to do that shit by yourself, like nobody wants to do that, and they shouldn't have to, right? Like if you take the right time to educate yourself, learn, become a real master of your craft and at least have the knowledge and the preparation going into it. That's like where I feel like the athlete mindset has given me an advantage over a lot of these business minded people who maybe even have been in the game longer than I have. But as an athlete, right, you learn to prepare for things.
Right.
So like if fight night is in April, you don't start training in April. You don't show up and get ready, right? Like you're getting ready for this in January. You're getting ready for this in December, psychologically, mentally. like physically, everything. You're getting ready for months. And then when it's fight night, now you show up and you give people a reason to support you. So that's what mentorship can do for beginners, right? Like it could give them an advantage and be able to leverage the experience of others. Like I have somebody that I'm coaching now, and he's been able to leverage a lot of the experience that I have. So even if he was, going in for a deal, when you go in with like lenders, if you don't have the track record, it's hard to get started.
Right. Huge.
So,
So I want to tack on to that because you actually are just starting a coaching program, which a lot of people get into this industry and they start making money and then they're like, what do I do with my time? And, because then you start, hiring people to do the day-to-day shit for you that you don't want to do all the time. And then here you are now freeing up this time. And so you have started this coaching program, and well, it's starting soon. And by the way, happy birthday. This is getting released on your birthday.
Thank you.
Yes.
This is we're popping the podcast cherry on my birthday. This is awesome.
What a great present. So tell us about this coaching program you start. And by the way, just watching your your Instagram videos, I don't know if you're on YouTube, but just seeing what you put out there on Instagram and your personality, and you are so talented at what you do. And so I can just see there's going to be a huge draw to this program. So tell us about your coaching program that you've created.
Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I definitely have a YouTube channel, by the way. So feel free to pull that up. And
I actually have a YouTube channel, but it doesn't have any videos on it. It's just the audio of my podcast. But people are like, you should be on YouTube. I'm like, it's only a podcast. How to videos? But anyway, so keep going.
So this actually came to light because the more I did, the more people kept like asking questions and they want to do things. And I remember being in those seats. Like I said, a couple of years ago, I was a student on those bus tours, and we just and now a couple of years later, like we're on that same bus tour, stopping by like 3 of my properties to walk students through and show them what I was able to see 4 or 5 years ago. So I always like, not to make this like a religious thing or whatever, but like I always used to say, like, if I could get these blessings, man, like I will happily pay them forward. So
you are definitely blessed. I can tell.
That's something I want to be able to do, is just reach back and help people who are getting started. I remember being in those rooms and just, because I did all of them, all those free 2-hour here. I did every course you could think of that just came to your mind right now, every name. I did them all because I was trying to figure out. And I remember being in those rooms like, man, like I just want to hear something that just help me, like, so I can just know, like, and and some of it wasn't as helpful as I wanted. Some of it was, right? But you take what you can and you put it with what you have and you move forward, right? So I would love to just be able to do that for people. And I feel like a lot of this, the knowledge that I've been able to acquire over the years, I didn't have to take such a long journey to learn it.
Okay.
Like, had I invested in more mentorship earlier, I would have skipped the line on a lot of this stuff. So, and just the impact that it's had in my life. Like, I was working full-time job. I would go in and work 16-hour days. I used to work for the show on NBC, Saturday Night Live.
Really?
Yeah, so like I used to build all their sets, do all the backdrops. Like,
I've actually stood in the center of that set.
Really?
I wasn't supposed to, but I went up there and took a selfie. I know. I know people in that building.
Oh, there you go. So I used to be a stagehand, and so I would work the live show, everything, like, so I did that. I was with that local union for years, and that nothing against that, right? Like, there's great people over there, and I love that show, but the time freedom that real estate has been able to give me, and look what it's been able to do. Like, been able to have my daughter's 13. She's a kidpreneur. She's on second year. Kidpreneur.
So what does that mean?
So she's on her second year of business. She saw the entrepreneurial moves that I was making, and she was like, "Dad, I want to do something. I want to make money." I'm like, "All right, so get an idea together, do your numbers, and come back to me. We'll do a family Shark Tank." She was like, "All right." So 3 weeks later, she pulled me down into the office. She's like, "Dad, I got this idea." Boom. So we went to there's a big mall over here, and they had cotton candy. They had given us a lot. And I remember I bought like 2 of them. It was like $20-something.
Oh my gosh.
She's like, "Dad, I want to do cotton candy." I looked it up. The machines are like $400. Whatever. I could sell them for $10. I'm like, "All right, cool." So she did the research. She came to me. I'm like, "All right." So we did a family Shark Tank. She did her presentation and we liked this. So I invested. I charged her 10% interest on the money. So we made a deal. We said, "All right, every time you go out, half of what you make will be your profit. The other half goes towards back paying your debt." And it used to kill me every time she would go out. I'd take the money from her and I was keeping it like in an envelope until she paid it off. But she did it quick. She did it in like 3 outings. And when she paid it off, I'm like, "All right, now you got good credit with me." And I gave her the envelope back. I gave her all the money back. So now she's got a second machine. She's putting her friends to work. A couple weeks ago, she put 2 of her friends to work the machine. She's paying them $20 an hour. And she went to another friend's birthday party.
This is why you, Jay, are going to be such a great coach, because you know how to get to a certain spot, certain level. And there's people who are good at what they do, but you know how to get people there. And that's why it's going to be so fantastic. So what is the name of your coaching program?
Or
are we not announcing it yet?
I don't have it yet.
Oh, you don't? Okay. But you will be starting it soon. By the time this is released, It'll be coming out.
Yes.
So how can people find you if they want to join your coaching program?
So my Instagram,
which is amazing,
champion_estates. So I have the link in the bio for that, or you could shoot me a DM and reach out. I have some students that I've already been working with, but I'm gonna launch this officially to open to the public.
Now, will it be in person or will you do things virtually?
So I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna be doing weekly Zoom calls. And once a month we'll be meeting up on site at one of my projects to specifically just so I know the impact of being on site, being able to touch it, feel it, see it, and get the impact of being on site. So I'm gonna once a month be bringing students onto the projects, and I'm gonna set it up, whether the project is at a finished stage like one of them is now, or we're at a demo. I'm gonna just set it up real authentic in the field. I'm gonna set up a plan, a message, a goal for the day. We're gonna go over everything, time to address Q&A, and this way the student could get a real feel and see a project go from something that people are running away from because it's so ugly to seeing people literally tripping over themselves trying to come in and pay above whatever the records in town is.
And why that's so important is because Devin and I teach for a national coaching program. We work with Tariq Al-Musa, who was one of your inspirations to get into this. And yes. Everything's virtual. Well, most of it's virtual. We have had in-person ones, but being on site is such a valuable part of this industry. And that's one of the key factors that we are missing. So that's why you are going to be so amazing at what you do. So we don't have too much time here in this first part here, but you talked about adding a floor. I call it pop the top. I've done a pop the top before. I've tried to do another pop the top, but the reason why we couldn't do the second one is because the foundation was shit. So there was water penetration and it just would not support a second floor. So when you are out looking for properties, what is you're mine, because you mentioned Cape Cods and things like that you can add the second floor. So when you're shopping for your next project, what are things that you look for?
So I'm usually looking for Cape Cod, ranch style homes. Usually anything that I see I can add a second floor on, or I can extend back.
Yes.
So like, and usually I try to find a combination of both because like, you know, I know people love to add a nice kitchen and bathroom to a house, but the most valuable thing you can add to a house is square footage.
Yes.
So, you know, like this last project that we were looking at, I just took it from 3 bedrooms, 1 bath to 6 bedrooms, 5 full bathrooms.
So let me ask this though, because like where I'm getting ready to do this, we've torn it down. I'm getting ready to do the new build.
Awesome.
We are not the first ones in the neighborhood to do it. So there are other properties even larger than what we're going to build. We're just doing 3,500 square feet, but they go up to like 5,500 square feet. And the property we tore down was like 1,100 square feet. So you have these tiny little houses that are now eventually all transitioning into these larger homes. So are you going to neighborhoods where there is a need for these larger homes, or are you like the pioneer going and saying, nope, I'm starting this and then I'm going to buy up the rest of the street and whatever? So
no, so I don't want to say I'm the first
Okay.
one in town to do this. I'll just say that I'm the best at doing it.
Nice.
I've taken like what I've seen was being done, and because they were doing it at a very basic level. So like like the adder level model and the addition model is already a niche within itself. And then like, so now I'm doing it at a high end with high end luxury finishes throughout. So it's like another niche inside the niche, right? Like,
Nice.
so I just kind of took what was working and just leveled it up.
So good. And then what are some things at the luxury level that you will never do? Like one of my biggest annoying, I cannot stand them. Oh my God. And I hope you don't like them. Barn doors. Do you do barn doors?
Man. Well, the only place that I will do a barn door is it's like I'll do like a white barn door if like on like the like if the closet doors is like in a hallway where the doors might open into each other.
Okay.
Then that's like a
Agreed.
way to make it efficient.
Or like a
You know?
pantry. So you don't want it
Exactly.
opening, Do
Yeah.
not put fucking barn doors on bathrooms ever. They don't seal right. You can hear everything in there. So it's just a pet peeve of mine. So what are some other things that you can walk into a property and be like, psh, not luxury because of that? Like what immediately you go, they don't know what they're doing.
So much, right? Like so
I got
much.
my pen ready. I'm going to take notes.
What one of the biggest thing aside from just the finishes, right? Like these luxury homes need to have like the right flow, right?
Okay.
So like the having the right flow and having the house laid out in a specific way where you get to walk through the kitchen. If you look at like some of the videos on the properties, you'll see that like the kitchen is not only open to the living room, but there's not like a huge like obstacle in the way where like sometimes the positions.
Right. I think of the lady of the house walking in with the groceries. Where is she throwing her purse down? Where is she dropping off her keys? How's she carrying in her groceries? That's kind of what I do in my head as I'm doing layouts.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So like other things. So what are big no-nos now?
Big no-nos.
Come on, hook a sister up. Besides barn doors. God bless barn doors.
A big no-no is basically anything farmhouse too. Like we don't like.
Shiplap?
Yeah, no, we're gonna stay away from the shiplap. We're gonna stay away. That's oh my God, a big no-no. And I hope you don't kill me for this. I don't know what's going on down south, but those light gray walls are dead.
Like, well, you can't tell that this is gray, but so for a long time, gray is what sold. And when I bought this house, I'm like, there is no gray going into this house. And of course, I'm like, but it's more of a grayish because I do have more blue tones and things like that. But I'm with you. I am absolutely with you. It is not good for your skin when you're standing next to it. You don't want any of that.
If we're doing a 2024 renovation, we're not painting the walls gray anymore. Are you doing more
that. Like the bright white still, or
so we
neutrals?
Do like neutrals, maybe like a off white, or like the color I just use now is called Greek Villa.
Okay.
It's like I want to say a a cream, like a creamier color.
Okay.
It's not white, but it's definitely not brown. It's like a nice cream color. And, the way we like accent that will be with like wallpapers or different,
So you are doing wallpapers.
trims.
I am scared to death to do wallpapers. I love the look, but I feel like it's so personal to the buyer. But I mean, I'm moving to this.
Let me tell you, I just sold a property recently and we did a Philip Jeffries wallpaper. And initially it was kind of like, man, this one wall is costing us $5,000 in just wallpaper. But, when you get up to it, you can feel it. It's textured. It's beautiful. And we're like, you know what? Like, let's give this a shot. We did it just one accent wall in the dining room. Man, this thing was a hit. Like,
was that the gray kind of?
Yes.
Okay,
so,
listeners, go to his Instagram page immediately and check out all this because he's got some great footage of this. And I know we can't show it on a podcast, but it is phenomenal. And Jay, I appreciate you breaking this down. By the way, I do have one more question because I'm like, what about cabinets? Are you doing like different colors in the island? Is that
Yes.
more? Okay. And then are you doing the butcher block or are you still sticking with?
We're doing stones.
Stones, okay.
Like a really nice quartz.
I like quartz, yeah.
It's usually really good. We just did like a 16-foot island with all quartz, just one big playing field. I like to do that with the fireplaces also, just because like some people tile it, right? But I just can't get my mind to wrap my head around seeing all those seams. Like no matter how nice the porcelain tile is, like you end up having these seams, and it's just like, to have like this nice luxury feel, it's better off to do it with the stones. This way you can miter the corners, like 45s. And when you look at it from the side, it just looks like a big block.
Nice.
With a fireplace at the bottom. So we just did like a gas fireplace and we just stoned the entire fireplace wall.
Beautiful.
So, and I did an inlay for the TV. So like I already did an inlay and ran all the wires, and it's kind of set for a 65-inch or 70-inch TV. So the way when the stone comes on down the face, it miters in to all the edges on the inlays. It's just like, it's beautiful.
Very nice. And last question on cabinets. We're getting away from the shaker cabinets. Are you doing more flat panel? Or are you using, I don't know what you're using.
So I want to say a nice trendy look right now is like the oak.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oak looking tones. Yep. So right now I just did like a nice combination of like the solid wood oak cabinets with like gold handles.
Nice.
Like cream colored quartz. If you could find like the right looking veins on those. Obviously, if you're doing a big island, like anything past 10 feet, you're gonna need a second slab, right? So you just want to make sure you're matching the veins.
And what about the lowers?
So I did like a combination right now where I did the bottoms in the wood oak, and then the pantries I did them in white, and the
uppers
in white. And then what I did to kind of trick the white ones out is I did them with like the glass on the inside and the front. So
oh my goodness,
just so it's not like a solid white and it looks different.
And Jay, I could talk to you again for hours, but this is only an hour-long podcast here, and
Has it been an hour already?
We're getting there. So, because we still have the second part of the podcast to go, which is what makes Jay a badass, which clearly you are. And I use the acronym BADASS, and the first letter is B for book. But you wrote something. It's not a book, but it's a TV show, which was a huge influence to you, and that was Flipper Flop, which was also a huge influence for me. So tell me how Flipper Flop was an influence for you.
It just made me see and feel that this was possible, just seeing them going into these projects and renovating them. And, it definitely looked a lot easier than what it is in real life, but just seeing that and just seeing that you can actually make this type of real money in this field was like an eye opener for me, and it kind of like just set me in this path. So I'm like super grateful for that.
And listeners, by the way, we'll be releasing Tark Al Musa's podcast. He was my 200th episode, so make sure you catch that. It's getting released on May 13th, so check that one out. All right, the first A in Badass is for advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Fail forward.
Fail forward. Now tell me about that.
Fail forward. So I know a lot of times when you're getting started, so many people don't start out of just being afraid to fail. But I've learned that one of the most valuable things you can do is fail, because that's where you learn. And
Yes.
as long as you learn from it, then it wasn't actually a failure, right? Like there's somebody who's gonna fail and you're just gonna keep tripping over the same rock, then yeah, you're failing. But if you go into it with the mindset of I'm gonna fail forward, then that means I'm gonna give this a shot, and if it works, I'll keep going. If it doesn't and I failed, then I'll automatically try to extract the lessons from it, see what I can learn, and then now instantly you became better. So it wasn't a failure, it made you better. So if you could repeat that over and over and keep moving forward, then like that's the most valuable thing. Is I have a thing that I talk about with my daughters, and it's called one time we were talking about something, and I'm sorry for the long answers.
Keep going. Come on, bring it.
One time she was, I want to say we were talking about doing something, and I was like, go ahead, just do it. And she was like, no, but I'm afraid of looking stupid. And I'm like that stupid room that you're afraid to go through, that's where all the money is made. That's where all the progress gets made, right? Because so many people are afraid to go into that stupid room. But the funny thing about that is, right, if you're brave enough to go through that stupid room, you end up coming out with the experience. And once you have the experience, now you are valuable because you have experience. And now all of a sudden you are a high value person, right? Because you had enough of those lessons where you were able to learn from them. So you grew through those failures, as opposed to the other person that never went through that. They were so afraid of looking stupid that they never started. It's just like if you follow those two people through the course of 5 years, it's night and day. So that's what we call it. We call it the stupid room.
Well said. And for everyone else, we call it the comfort zone. And typically success is right on the off-ramp of that comfort zone. So that was one of my quotes recently in my morning memes. But I mean, stupid room, that works. Got to get through that stupid room.
You know what? It was just something that just came to light that day, because she was like, I'm afraid of looking stupid. I'm like, don't worry about looking stupid. That's where all the value is done.
Yes.
And so it went from fail forward to because if you're going to fail to have to do this, we might as well get there quickly. Let's go, let's get it on. Let's fail forward as quickly as we can. This way we can learn from it and keep moving forward.
Well said. All right. The D in Badass is for drive. What drives you to be successful?
My family.
Definitely.
My family. As Latinos, I haven't really seen, so many people learn a lot of the lessons like financial literacy, the power of leverage, the power of real estate. So as Latinos, I didn't really see too much of that growing up. I've seen, hardworking family members and, moving forward that way. But moving forward in the entrepreneurial life and just learning financial literacy and the power of real estate, it's like I'm kind of breaking the cycle.
Yes, you are.
On a lot of things in my family, just because and I remember hearing stories. I remember my dad used to tell me this story all the time, and this is not to throw him under the bus. It's just right, we should always be stepping it up from the last generation, right? So I remember hearing the story about when this one company, I won't say the name, when this one company got started, they offered me a chance to start with them, and I kind of said no, whatever. And I'm looking at them now, and that company is $1 billion company. And I'm like, shit, like, had you just given it a shot and like failed, like, fuck it. But at least tell me that you tried and you failed. So like, I used to hate hearing that story because it was just like you didn't even try, like
Right.
and that's the athlete mindset again kicking in, right? Because like I would always train as hard as I could, and fight night shows up, and right, could you reach a point where like all the press conferences are over, the weigh-ins are over, all the time for talk is over, your posts are over, everything gets done. Now you have to now it's actually time to show up and deliver. You're actually going to put up a shut up now, right? Because like you can have 100 people there with you, nobody can help you. When that bell rings, it's just you and the truth, whether you're prepared or not. So I just always remember making up my mind, like, you know what, I'm going to give this 100% and I'm going to go home with no questions asked, win, lose, or draw. And so like I just apply that to life. I apply that to business. I'll prepare 100% and give it everything I got. And then if it doesn't happen, then I know I did everything I could. It wasn't meant to be. Maybe what was meant to come of that was the lesson.
Right.
But like, if I don't give it 100% and it doesn't happen, that just eats me alive, because then I don't know.
And what an amazing example you are to your daughter. And here you have this kidpreneur that you're raising who's out there serving cotton candy to the world. And, what an example you are for her. So super proud of you, Dad. Good job on that. All right. The second A in Badass is for aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what is a goal you are currently working on?
So a cool goal I'm currently working on is I'm looking to sell a property or get into a project that has an ARV north of 3 million. So I'm breaking my personal record right now. By the time this airs, this project should be on the contract, but this should be in the high twos, like 2.6, 2.7. So that would be breaking my personal record, but I'm aiming to go higher. There's a more valuable part of town, and I'm like knocking down the door to get in there.
Nice. And I just know you will be achieving that because of everything that I have seen. So, all right. The first S in Badass is for systems. What systems do you have in place to help you achieve success?
Building the right team. When I first started, I was like trying to give you a shorter answer, but on that first project, I was the contractor. I was doing everything. I was physically having to take this project all the way through, from like I touched every piece of sheetrock, every piece of tile, every piece of roofing. Like I was at that point where I was feeling like I had to do everything myself in order to finish this on budget. So I was doing that, and it was just wearing all the hats and just trying to be the one-man army, right? So now moving forward, what has allowed me to scale and do these bigger projects, and like I was doing one small cosmetic project that was eating me up. Now I'm able to do these huge projects, and I'm doing 3 and 4 of them at the same time. And I still have time to like go on vacation, and without losing any progress. And it's all because instead of like thinking that I'm the one-man show, I'm so amazing, I'm going to do everything. It was in building the right team. So in every sense of the word, from the project manager to I have an amazing realtor that I work with, and I'm a licensed realtor, but just because I'm a licensed realtor doesn't mean I should be selling my house, right?
Right.
My primary focus is as an investor. So I have the right agent that I'm working with, the right partners, the right lenders. I'm in the right fields. So just building the right team to support my goals around me has been an invaluable experience.
Huge, definitely. There's a book called Who Not How, and that one I was like, that's it, I'm hiring. And you are not good at everything. You can be okay at certain things, but you want to hire the people that are excellent at those things to propel you along quicker. All right, Jay, this has been amazing. So to wrap this up, the final S in Badass is for success. What does success mean to Jay Rodriquez?
I want to say success means time freedom.
Time freedom.
Time freedom. Time freedom. Life goes by fast. life goes by fast, and I don't intend to live it slaving away on somebody else's dream 16 hours a day. So taking ownership of my time, being here for like, yeah, these projects are big money and absolutely, but really what that money just allows to do is just buy the time, like.
And you can't get time back.
Like on a day like today, I would be going into work, but because I've been doing what I've been able to do, I'm actually going to spend the night going to see my daughter. She's like been practicing for this play she's doing.
Aww.
I'm going to be able to be there. If I want to spend some time with my wife, with my family, with the friends, or, whatever it is that I want to do on my life, I want to have like the full-time freedom and security to do it. My wife's been a stay-at-home wife for like 7 years. And all those things is important. You got to have the security to do that. So
definitely. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure getting you on the show. And something that I learned from you is when you're working in luxury, you have to show them what you want. I had to write that down. I'm like, oh, that was so good. So
show them what they want.
Show them what they want. They don't even know they want that nanny suite. So I'm so very impressed with you, and you are like almost a little over half my age, but for everything that you're doing, as successful as you are at this young age, very, very impressive. So take care of my girl Devin up there in New Jersey. I wish I lived closer to her. And yeah, she is. And thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
And happy birthday. And I'm glad I got to pop your podcast cherry. Ooh, ooh.
Cheers to that.
And cheers. Yes. Click, click. All right. And thank you for listening. And we will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.